Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast number 62 for January 18th, 2018. On today's show, we're chatting about the 25th anniversary of WWE Monday Night Raw, which will take place next Monday, Barstool's newest channel on Sirius XM, what we've been watching, and the final two episodes of Black Mirror Series 4, which were Metalhead and Black Museum for our TV club. You can chat with us on Twitter at Average Nobodies, toss us a like on Facebook at Average Nobodies, and heart all of our pictures on Instagram, also at Average Nobodies. Don't forget, this podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. I am Ryan, and here with me, as always,
Matt.
Hey, you know, it's. I think people take it for granted that you just remember your name. But
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
Yep. Some mornings I don't know where I am. Today I remember my name, which is we're off to a good start. Hot start.
Hot.
Soup. Yeah. I have an update on our buddy Logan Paul.
Oh, well, I gotta hear it.
So this podcast is coming just 4 days after our last one. Look at us go. Look at us fucking go. Yeah, right. Unbelievable. Logan Paul has yet to upload a video since his apology video, which has been it was 2 weeks ago. So this is an interesting thing because I think this is the longest he's gone without uploading a video since he's launched his YouTube channel. I honestly think this is just and we don't have to go super in depth with this. I just wanted to, bring it up. I was curious to see what was going on since then, and I checked it out, and he hadn't uploaded a video, and he's been MIA from social media. I think he's kind of just waiting it out, and then when he puts his first vlog back out, it's gonna go bananas. His fans are gonna be clamoring for it by the time that time comes because I feel like we so easily forget, and I feel like he's gonna just pop right back into the world and be killing it like he was before the whole incident in Japan.
Yeah, it's like a combination of forgetting and also just the attention span. There's already so many things that have happened since then that people are like, am I really gonna am I gonna keep hating this kid, or I gotta hate the next newest person, or I mean, it's just unless you do something really, like murder, but it's not even that, because then now you're just gonna have the justice system do it. But when it's the court of public opinion, it's too quick. It moves too fast. Look like a Hulk Hogan thing. It's only a matter of time before he comes back to WWE.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of WWE, perfect segue.
Thank you.
WWE Raw, its 25th anniversary is Monday, which is just a few days away from today.
Yep. Yeah, so it's a huge show. Love when they do the anniversary shows because it brings back all the old timers, like Attitude Era, pre-Attitude Era, just guys who are an integral part of the show. This Monday is going to be the 1,288th episode of Raw.
That's so crazy. So many.
Unbelievable.
So many Monday Night Raws.
So many. It started, the official 25th anniversary was a couple weeks ago, I think. It started in January of 93. It's been the flagship show ever since. Obviously, they have SmackDown that airs on Thursday. But Raw is the go-to. That's always been the main show for WWE. So huge accomplishment on their end. And they're celebrating by doing a dual broadcast. So they're doing some of the show at the Manhattan Center in New York, which is where the original episodes were filmed for the first year or two.
Yeah.
Before they started doing different cities every week. And then some of the show will be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So they'll both be live, but they're going to have a split roster. And there's so many people confirmed. I have the list up right here. I mean, you got guys from MVP.
Jeez.
Remember MVP?
Oh, I do remember MVP. Speaking of people forgetting what you've done, he was arrested for kidnapping, wasn't he?
Yeah, he has the reason he wrestled in that jumpsuit was he has a huge Malcolm X tattoo on his chest.
Yeah.
MVP William Regal, who's still like a big part of NXT. Harvey Whippleman, he was a manager. Howard Finkel, the ring announcer. Lillian Garcia.
Oh, Lillian, Miss Lillian.
Yep. Jonathan Coachman coming in from ESPN. Mark Henry, Christian, the Hardys, Trish Stratus, Jericho. They're bringing back a lot of the old divas. They used to be called divas. Now they're just women's wrestlers now. But like Trish Stratus, Jacqueline, Terry Runnels, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Kelly Kelly. And I think that's also going to help them with the Women's Royal Rumble.
Ooh, yeah, good point.
It's the first ever Women's Rumble, and they've announced it's going to be 30 women, and they really only have like 20 women on the roster.
Yeah, so they're going to need to be pulling from other. Yeah. Maybe it'll be Santino Marella dressed up again as Santina.
He wins the first ever Women's Rumble. You think that'll go over okay?
I think that'd be all right, considering how far they've built the women's division up. You know, that just would be great. It would just send the whole thing crashing down.
And then you got a guy like Mean Gene Okerlund's going to be there.
Nice.
Eric Bischoff, The Godfather. Of course, The Godfather's going to be there. And then like the bigger names too, like X-Pac, DX, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, Sergeant Slaughter, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Undertaker, Scott Hall, Ric Flair, Dudley Boys. And there's a rumor, which we can maybe talk about next week, but I'll just mention it quick, that John Cena and The Undertaker are fighting at this year's WrestleMania.
Ooh.
That they're going to run an angle on Raw to get that started. So
maybe Undertaker sighting?
I don't know. Those are the rumors. I mean, that's the thing with wrestling. Like, there's no, everyone says, oh, he lost to Reigns at WrestleMania. He like left his hat and everything in the ring as a kind of like a nonverbal sign of retirement, but never know in wrestling.
Yeah, he's the dead man. It's like you never know. And also
to be like, no, that's I had died and I am risen again.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that.
And in conjunction with the 25th anniversary, WWE listed the top 25 moments from Raw on their website.
Yes. And
number one was the bear bath, when Stone Cold brought the bear truck in and sprayed Vince and Shane and all them.
Rightfully
so. It's an iconic moment. I mean, it's just, you don't forget that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, number two was the CM Punk pipe bomb.
That was a bit surprising to me, because I think there's a ton of other moments that we're gonna pull out our favorite Raw moments throughout the years. But that is kind of shocking to me. It was a great moment. That like span of a year, the summer of Punk, and that whole when he was the champion and whatnot. That was such a great time for wrestling, for new era wrestling. You know what I mean? For like whatever they're called, the superstar era. Like, that was so awesome, and Punk's character couldn't be bigger, couldn't be more adored by the fans. So I do get that, and it was a shocking moment, because you always remember those moments where you're not sure if like WWE's in on it, or if it was like kind of like CM Punk going rogue. But of course, WWE's always in on everything, because Vince McMahon is the smartest man alive. He knows exactly what's going on. He plans all these things. So it is kind of shocking that it's number two, but it is a great Raw moment.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic. So
I was more surprised because like he's obviously on the outs with the company.
Yeah.
At least publicly.
Yeah, I think that going forward, and maybe this is Triple H, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that WWE has in the past kind of like blacklisted guys like CM Punk because they're not on great standing with the company, but the fans don't care about that shit. They just fucking love the characters. So, going forward, it would be stupid for WWE not to acknowledge CM Punk's existence.
Exactly.
It's like give fans warm and fuzzies, and maybe that was Vince McMahon back in the day, but now it's like Triple H handling a lot of that stuff. Maybe he just kind of like was like, yeah, like fuck it, like we'll talk about CM Punk. It's not like he doesn't exist. He was a huge part of the company for a good stretch of time.
Exactly. And like you said, fans don't care about like your personal disputes with people or contracts or pay or whatever. Like, they loved Punk, and if he came back, they'd go friggin' nuts for him. And they know that. And you know what? Why not play his matches? Why not put his name in the news? And because what's happening now, people are going to see this and say, "Oh my God, he's coming back!"
Yeah,
and that could get people to tune in. So either way, they're winning.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. So 25 years, 1,287 episodes. There's going to be a lot of crazy moments, great matches. Do you have any that kind of stand out? Like, it might not be the top, moment, because they're like doing the top of anything with that many episodes is impossible. Like, you can't definitively say this is the best one.
No, yeah,
But from a personal standpoint, you can enjoy something can stick out in your mind. Yeah. So do you have any or one that really?
I have a couple. One generally I'm going to talk about as a whole, which wasn't really listed anywhere when I was like doing a little bit of like I wanted to learn what was going on, because I've been out of the game for about a month, or since we went to more Raw, right? I've been out of the game a little bit of what's going on, so I wanted to see what was going on Monday for the 25th anniversary. So I was searching stuff, and there's no mention really anywhere on any of the top like websites talking about the anniversary of Raw, talking about when they was doing the guest hosts of Raw for that stretch of time, like back in 2010, I think it was 2010, 2011. I fucking loved those Monday Night Raws when they were bringing in like Jeremy Piven and like the weird ones like ZZ Top and like really
Bob
great,
Barker.
right? Yeah, Bob Barker, and great ones like Mark Cuban and like like Mark Cuban getting put through a table, right? Was that the Raw? Was that Raw? Or was that a pay-per-view when he got put through the table?
No, that was Raw.
Right. Yeah, that's when he hosted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like things like that. Jeremy Piven, like I was at that one at Mohegan Sun. It was amazing. It was incredible. Like he like jumped off the top ropes and was caught by John Cena, I believe, and John Cena gave him the attitude adjustment. It was amazing. But I have 3 moments from Raw's current and Raw's past. My number one is or maybe not number one, but no specific order. The Mae Young powerbomb. Not her giving a powerbomb. Specifically, the Dudley Boys powerbombing her off the stage, off the Titantron, through a table. If you remember that.
That was actually the number 25 moment.
Oh, was it really?
In their countdown? Yeah, it's shocking because so now this happened in 2000.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know exactly when, but I just remember we used to always like we would be in tears talking about it.
Yeah, so that happened in 2000. That was an episode in March of 2000. Mae Young was born in 1923. She was 77 years old. And I know, like, there's a way they're professionals. It's a 77-year-old woman.
It still doesn't matter. Yeah, it's so like no way. It's like you just can't do that to a 77-year-old woman. It's bizarre that they were able to get the okay. Like, even if Mae Young gave the okay, you still can't just do it. She might not have in the right state of mind. I remember we were like watching that video. Like I remember watching it for real. You know what I mean? Like I remember seeing it way back. It's permanently etched in my head. But back then, everything was real, like 100% real. But like even like now, I'm like trying to figure out if like was that actually Mae Young? But it was. It fucking absolutely was Mae Young. It's crazy. So yeah, Mae Young getting powerbombed by Bubba Ray was insane. Not even just a powerbomb. Like it was off the Titantron through a table.
Through a table, yeah. And it was like he was not holding back.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It wasn't a bad move. It was perfect, and she sold it perfectly. You want to know why? Because she was a 77-year-old woman. Of course, how else is she gonna sell it? She's not gonna be able to hold back.
She's just like, my body is falling apart.
Yeah, my one of the other ones that I really enjoyed, and I think you'll echo this one as well, Ryan. When Nexus burst on the scene and destroyed John Cena in the ring.
Yeah.
That was when we got our first taste of Daniel Bryan, like for real. And he choked out who'd he choke out ringside?
Justin Roberts.
Justin Roberts with the tie.
He got fired.
Right, yeah. And he was out of the Nexus for a while. He got thrown out of the Nexus, and then, Daniel Bryan had a meteoric rise after that. But the Nexus was really cool for a while. Really fun, really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then my last one, we were actually at.
Which one?
Do you know which one I'm talking? When it's another one with Daniel Bryan, when Daniel Bryan broke free of the Wyatt family. Yes. And it was an incredible Raw. And it's like regarded as one of the great Raws.
I think that year we got voted like best audience.
Yeah, yep, you're absolutely right. We did.
Never been a part of like an audience that loud in my life. Like that yes chant was unreal.
Yeah.
Like it gives me chills to go back and watch it on YouTube.
Yep, it's incredible.
It was so cool.
Yep.
And that was really, I mean, he was getting popular and he was gaining momentum, but like when he broke free from the Wyatts and like officially became his own man and beat the crap out of Bray Wyatt in that cage, like that, WWE had to be watching that and all right, like we got to strap a rocket to this guy. And they did.
Yep.
I mean, you know, that year's WrestleMania, he had one of the best single nights ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Won the title in the main event. Yeah. So it's cool. And Raw is just such a hit. Like anytime it comes to Providence, I'm there.
Yeah.
It's a really just a great show, but awesome 3 picks. I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like one of the. I was trying to think of like, you know, kind of odd ones, and I was very disappointed that they didn't like. It's hard to like pick one of the guest hosts, but I really enjoyed that whole era of the no GM like guest hosts every week. I thought that was so cool because it added such an angle like element to Raw, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I had a couple, but I can come up with 3 too.
Okay.
So the first one I'll pick, it's not necessarily a top moment. It's just batshit that they did it. And it was the night that The Undertaker crucified Stone Cold.
Oh my
on,
God. Yeah.
Like the makeshift cross, but it was The Undertaker's signal.
Yeah.
And like they hung him like he was Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I mean, they did some crazy stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was just there was no like second draft. You know what I mean? Like when they're coming up with the script or whatever, it was like, oh, all right, we're gonna crucify Stone Cold. Yeah, all right, well, yeah, we'll strap him to the cross and everything.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
I mean, they had ideas and they just threw it to the wall and see what stick. And like a lot of times, stuff didn't stick, but you get memorable moments like that.
Well, because you cared about the guys, you cared about what Stone Cold did, you cared what the Undertaker did.
Yes.
So that was a crazy one. But 2 of my favorite ones. One was when Mankind won the title for the first time.
Right.
When he was fighting The Rock, and The Rock was part of the corporation, I think it was, with Vince McMahon and Shane and the Big Boss Man and all those guys. And then Mankind had DX in his corner. And it was like a brawl at ringside, and Stone Cold had been gone for a little while. He was hurt.
Yeah.
And when that glass breaks, which is still the best and like beginning to an entrance music ever.
That's the fastest reaction time to any WWE superstar that's ever lived for their music. It's like as soon as the glass breaks, you know exactly who it is. There's no mixing up that entrance music. It's know it's Stone Cold.
And you know it's just intensity. It's insane. And it was in Worcester, Mass. Yeah. That Raw. I like had a couple of guys who ended up knowing, like my old catering boss was there, and he's like, you couldn't hear yourself think. It was so loud. People, it was like a continuous 5-minute like yelling, screaming, not knowing what to do. And he goes, hits The Rock with the chair, pulls Mankind over. Mankind wins his first title.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite moment. And then I was thinking back and I'm like, what is like kind of one of the more important moments as far as how like the game changed? And it had to be when Mike Tyson came on Raw and Stone Cold like confronted him and just starts talking shit to Mike Tyson. Yeah. And you're like, and not like showing fear. Like, I know it's scripted and all this stuff, but Mike Tyson's a psychopath. Like, you can tell Mike Tyson one thing backstage. That doesn't mean he's going to go in the ring and be.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon.
And Stone Cold's just like flipping him off and telling him to go to hell. And they get in the shoving match. And that, because that was in January of '98. And that was 2 months before Stone Cold would win the world title for the first time.
Yeah.
And that same match, Shawn Michaels retired because he had the back injury going in.
Right.
But like that night when, like, I remember watching and being like, all right, like, you're not stopping Stone Cold. He's just the man. Like, there's nobody better. He's the best. And if you go back and look, like, that's when he really took over, because then it was just him and The Rock, really. Like, Shawn Michaels was gone, Bret Hart was gone. It was him, The Rock. I mean, you had Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, but Stone Cold and The Rock were the 2 guys for like the next 6 years that just turned it into, the biggest company that it is now. But that Mike Tyson Stone Cold face off you go back and watch it, that holds up.
Oh yeah,
Really, really awesome segment. So very excited for Monday, and then 6 days after that is the Royal Rumble, and then you're in the full WrestleMania season swing, and it's really the best time of year to be a wrestling fan. A lot of good stuff happening.
It absolutely is. It really is. Like the beginning of the calendar year is just because like things start really ramping up towards WrestleMania, and you have my besides WrestleMania, because obviously that's the best pay-per-view of the year. The Rumble is just amazing. I love the Rumble because of it's one of those like it's the only pay-per-view besides Mania that literally anything can happen, because you can have any person that's still alive that had to do with wrestling come to that Rumble and be an entrant in the Rumble, which I love that. I love the surprise of like who's gonna come out at this number, you know what I mean? Just as long as they're not my person for the betting pool, you know what I mean, who's gonna come out, it'll be great, you know?
As long as it's not Hornswoggle,
yeah, as long as the Hornswoggle doesn't come back, like that's great and everything, but just as long as he's not my number. No, please no.
And it's great too, because the Rumble match itself is like 10 different matches in one. You know what I mean? You have so many different storylines happening. It's just a really cool time, and there's a buzz in the air when you're watching the Rumble, because something cool is going to happen. You're going to get some legends returning, and it's going to be awesome. So very exciting. Very excited for Raw. Very excited for the Rumble. Very excited for WrestleMania season. And I think we'll probably maybe we can chat about the Rumble on next week's podcast too. Just kind of
absolutely. We'll definitely recap it,
preview it.
Preview it then, and then we can talk about it after. We'll recap it before it happens.
We know the future.
Nope, that's
just for wrestling.
That's what we offer here on the Average Nobody's podcast.
A lot of podcasts can predict the future.
Nope,
but we can.
So up next, you want to move on? Yeah. So up next, we're going to talk about Barstool a little bit. We like to dabble in, we're both big fans, been readers for a long time. I kind of picked it up in college. I think you did along the same time. That's kind of when it got popular for like our group of friends. But now they've had a monumental rise over the past year and a half. They moved to New York. They got a Sirius radio show, a 2-hour show they were doing Monday through Friday. But now Sirius XM gave them their own channel, Power 85. It's channel 85 on Sirius XM. And they got a bunch of new shows now. Have you listened to any? Have you listened to anything, Ryan?
Yep, I listened to, I tell you what, I listened to the Barstool Breakfast with Francis, Julie Stewart-Binks, and Willie Colon the last 2 mornings. Right? Because has it been on since Tuesday?
Yep, it's been on, what's today? Thursday. It's been on yesterday, today. 2 shows they've done so far.
Yeah. So I've listened to the Barstool Breakfast, the first 2 shows, and they're great. I really like them.
Yep, they're so good.
Because I drive into work, so that's the 7 to 9, and I drive into work usually. It takes me about 25 minutes to get into work, so anywhere from 8 to 9, I'm getting into work. So I catch them. I really like them.
Yeah, it actually works out. The Barstool Breakfast works out perfect for me. I'm on the road usually by like 6:40 to go to work, and I'm a little over about an hour away for work. So I listen to the previous day's rundown for the first 15-20 minutes. I'm in the car. Then as soon as 7 o'clock hits, I switch on satellite radio, and I get like almost an hour of Barstool Breakfast, which I've been loving. Well, just like you said, I love it.
I like them, and then on the way home, because I leave work at 5:30, I get Barstool. It's just called Barstool Radio Show.
Yeah, which is what their original show was on 93. It was it's Prez, KFC, and then whoever else they have in there.
Yeah, I Prez and KFC are my 2 least favorite guys. I don't really like either of them. I know Prez obviously is the one who keeps it going, and KFC seems to be getting pretty popular. I just don't like when KFC's with Prez, he just kind of agrees with them a lot of the time. Like today they had a guy call in. I don't know. They were talking about like teeth, like missing teeth stories because of that. Did you see that Bulls player?
See, I didn't see the Bulls player, but I catch because I'm driving home between 4 and 5, so I catch the first hour, and you caught the second hour. I didn't hear this story. So what happened?
So the Bulls player, actually, he's a PC player, Chris Dunn.
Oh yeah.
he took the ball and held onto the rim too long, and like his legs fell out from under him, and he fell face first to the ground and knocked all his teeth out.
Oh Jesus!
So I guess they were having people call in and tell like similar stories about them getting their front teeth knocked out. So some guy calls in, and he starts talking, and El Prez is like, this fucking sucks. I hate this story. Like, ends the call.
He does that all the time. It's fucking
Yeah,
it's annoying a lot of the time.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Like, you're having people call in, and then he's like, I don't want to hear people talk about, like, losing their teeth, and KFC's like, yeah, me either. And they're just, like, going, and, like, Prez is a douche. He's a dick, and that's his thing. And I don't think it's a shtick. I just think that's who he is.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of KFC, so I don't know. I mean, I'm going to give it a chance. Like, I'll keep listening, but I have a feeling I'm just going to get tired of it.
Prez is such an odd content guy for Barstool. Obviously, he is Barstool, right? He is the person who started it and brought it along, like you said. But sometimes he's absolute gold with his shtick, and other times it just comes off as, like, very annoying. And that sounds harsh, but it's just like sometimes it's like it's a little much, right? Other times he's hilarious and he's like, on point. When he's working with guys like Big Cat and stuff, it comes out more. But in KFC also, there's a little like, so I was listening today, and apparently what they originally what Barstool Radio, the one that's just called Barstool Radio, was going to be, it was going to be KFC Radio, and he was going to get his own like marquee Sirius show. And since all that shit came out with him cheating on his wife and all that stuff, they decided to not give it to him, at least right now. So it's still Barstool Radio.
That's the thing, too, because I like him in Feidelberg.
Yeah. Sometimes they get a little too self-deprecating for me, him and Feidelberg, especially now that they don't have Big Cat on KFC. Well, I mean, they haven't had Big Cat for a long time. But for the most part, I do enjoy their show, and I love when they do the voicemails. I think that shit is hilarious. But I think he's kind of like, I think KFC's definitely in a rut right now. I mean, obviously, he's got all that shit going on at home, and not getting his satellite show definitely kind of sucks for him, because this is like, the podcast and radio has been like his life at Barstool. It's like, that's what he does best, is host radio and podcasts. So I think it kind of sucks for him. So hopefully that ship will right itself, and he'll be able to like host that show. Because honestly, I don't think Prez is going to be able to do every day for that much longer, especially with the changed time. Now that it's later on in the day from 4 to 6. Like during the day he was at the office, but Prez is in meetings and flying all around. So who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll
be interesting. Yeah. Give it a shot.
It will be. I'm loving the content so far. I think Barstool Breakfast is great. I think Francis is very underrated. He's very funny. And Julie Stewart-Binks is awesome. I've loved her since she's been doing stuff for like ESPN. And it's awesome that she's working for like full-time now for Barstool. There's a couple other shows that you guys should keep on your radar. First of all, there's a Chicks in the Office Sirius show. If you're a fan of their video series they have on the Barstool YouTube, it's Rhea and Fran. They shoot the shit for a couple hours too. There's the Evening Yak, which has Roan, Big Cat, and I don't know who else is on the GMAC. Who else is on the Evening Yak?
Roan? I think it's like a rotating.
Who? Carabas. Oh, and Carabas. Yeah. Jared Carabas, and then they have Stephen Chair. Stephen Chair? Is that how you say his name? He's the guy who does like Bucks. He breaks down Bucks film. He's the guy who produces it. But the big news is next week they're doing Mike Portnoy Esquire and Cousin Murray. Ryan, do you know anything about this? So, Mike and the Murd Dog is going to be the name of the show. What? And Riggs. Oh, and Riggs, and Barstool Riggs. But so Dave's dad thought that he was getting a radio show because some guy on Twitter put out this like fake like little like clipping with Mike Portnoy, and he's a regular caller. So he thought he was getting a show, so he was like very disappointed when he found out he wasn't. But he brought up a thing that's like, oh, me and Cousin Murray. He calls his like Cousin Murray, and they're like these two like old Jewish guys, and they're gonna have their own talk show. It sounds like it's gonna be hilarious, so I'm excited to check that out too.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they never hurt for content. They're always giving you more than you could ever. Yeah. Ever want. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah, and I think eventually the game plan is to fill out all 24 hours of their channel.
Yeah, because right now a lot of it's just like repeating some of the like Barstool Breakfast plays at like 7 at night too, or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, it's just getting started, not easy to fill out 24 hours of
no, definitely
every single day.
Definitely not. Ryan, what have you been watching?
So, been watching. I started a new show last night, Comedy Central. It's a dark comedy. It's called Corporate.
Okay.
It's basically like Workaholics, but more spot on for like the corporate world, and also darker. Like, it's not looking for laughs, but it's funny. You know what I mean? It's like the situations that the two main characters put themselves in are funny, but it's not like they're making like fart jokes and stuff like that. It's very dark. It was a 2-episode premiere on Comedy Central. It was at 10 and 10:30 last night. I thought it was very good. It's created and stars and written by just kind of nobodies, like these young guys, and they work at this huge $1 billion corporation, and it basically just details how corporate like businesses just like suck away your soul.
Okay.
But it's well done. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I like Comedy Central. Comedy Central gives a lot of, like, they tried giving right? Didn't they have Barstool Radio on there?
Yeah,
or whatever.
They did the tailgate show last year at the Super Bowl. They did it was like 4 nights in a row or 5 nights in a row at like 1 a.m. Was it, GMAC? Yeah. But it was they gave them a shot. It was actually pretty cool. I think that was the last time I watched Comedy Central, honestly.
Yeah, I don't watch it very often. I watch it for Broad City. That's about it. But yeah, it was funny. It's only been 2 episodes so far. It's going to be on Wednesday nights at 10, I believe, at Comedy Central.
Very cool.
So I'll keep everybody updated as I watch it.
Okay.
And then another one of my favorite shows is Last Man on Earth.
Yeah,
that's on
you
Fox.
rave about this show.
Oh my! It's the best season yet so far. So it's one of those shows that does the mid-season breaks.
Yep.
So it goes until like late November, and then it just picked up a couple weeks ago. And it's just really, really good. It's Will Forte and Kristen Schaal and January Jones. What the hell? I forgot the guy's name in Better Call Saul, but Saul's like the big heavy guy who you do all the schemes with.
Huel?
Yeah. No, the white guy. Like the white guy with the mustache. Remember he was in like a couple episodes? Like when Saul, before he became the lawyer, they do all like the schemes outside the bar.
Oh, right. I don't know his name. Yeah.
Well, he's in it, and he's hysterical.
Oh, cool.
It's really good. And Fred Armisen is guest starring in this season.
Yes.
And he's just it's so good. It's a great show. It's on Sunday nights on Fox. So watching that. Big Scandal fan.
Mm-hmm.
That came back tonight, which it's on my DVR, so I'll be watching that after this podcast. But TV's coming back, so that's kind of my huge focus right now. Finished Daredevil, which was excellent, and then I'm going to start The Punisher soon.
I got to do that. I got to do that too.
Yeah. But yeah, so a lot of TV going on. What about you? What have you been watching?
So I just got Blade Runner on Blu-ray, so I watched that the other night, and it's a great. It was my favorite movie of 2017. We ranked our favorite movies of 2017 on the Make Movies Great Again podcast. That was my number 1 movie of 2017. It just sucks because it's great to watch it at home, but unless you have like a killer like huge screen TV and a killer like surround sound system, it does it no justice. It really belongs on the big screen. It kind of sucks, honestly. It's a little depressing. Because from what I remember watching it in the theater, I saw it twice. It just like doesn't compare. It's still a great movie, but it's just like the experience is not there, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, a little disappointing. But I saw The Greatest Showman in theaters again. This was the second time. Oh wait, or did we already talk about this? Because we did it Sunday night.
We did do it Sunday night. Yeah.
So all right, so. Yeah, I saw it then. That was my second time.
Well, I mean, from what you've explained, I don't think it's enough publicity.
I'm telling you guys again. And I also finished Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. A lot of the episodes I've already seen when it was on Crackle, but yeah, I watched all the ones that are on Netflix now, and I enjoy that show. It's such a simple, idea for a show, and it only works for Jerry Seinfeld. You know what I mean? It only works for Jerry Seinfeld. So I really really like it. Other than that, I've been watching Black Mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love comedians in the cars getting coffee, and it suits him.
Yeah,
it's he can make that show like he did with Seinfeld, because there's no concept to it. It's literally comedians driving in vintage cars, drinking coffee, shooting the shit. But it works with him because he's fascinating. He's never really led a very public life, and he gets obviously the best people to come on. So I love it.
I have a question. Are there episodes missing from the ones that used to be on Crackle?
I don't know. Possibly.
Wasn't there a Chris Rock episode?
That's on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe I fucking missed that one. I thought I watched them all right in order. I don't know. Anyway.
Season 1?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought I watched them all. I thought I started right at the beginning and watched all the way through. I
know Chris Rock one's definitely on there.
Okay. All right, maybe I just missed it. All right, you want the TV Club?
Let's do it.
All right. So, episode 4.5, season 4, episode 5 of Black Mirror, titled Metalhead. And I'll read the synopsis. In the post-apocalyptic landscape of the Scottish moors, a woman attempts to survive the land full of dogs. What did you think about this episode? All right, do you want to go over the director?
Yeah, so directed by David Slade. He's actually done he did a few American Gods episodes.
I like David Slade.
Did Hannibal, and he did one episode of Breaking Bad.
Okay.
So he's familiar to the Prestige TV universe. Just an FYI, every episode this season was written by Sirius creator Charlie Brooker.
Yeah.
So he wrote all of them, so he's gonna have written episode 6 as well. My initial reaction was not like it wasn't a positive. It because I'm not a huge horror, like straight up horror movie fan for one reason. I think and I don't think so. I'm not going to phrase this correctly, but I feel like in a lot of horror movies they make the main characters purposely dumb, and it's frustrating to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And in Metalhead, it's frustrating that the main character, I have her name right here, Bella. It's frustrating that Bella knows she's being chased by these dogs who apparently have machine gun hands or paws that blow people's heads off.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on a rock, and she's chatting, and I know then that builds up the suspense. I understand that. But I don't like it. I never have. So watching this, in those parts of it, I didn't really like, just because I don't like those in horror movies.
Yeah.
And, I didn't like that part. But that said, overall, when you piece kind of all the parts of the episode together, especially the ending, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I disagree. I didn't like it. I didn't like this episode.
Huh?
No, it wasn't for me. I don't know. It didn't feel like a Black Mirror episode for some reason. It just felt, I don't know. It didn't have that little extra spice that Black Mirror episodes usually have. And like the whole thing with the teddy bear at the end, I thought that was kind of cool. That it was, it makes sense. Like you immediately understand why they were, they're going after something important, something very important, and then you find out it's like a box of teddy bears. But in that world, that is important. It's like everything's so rough and metal and hard and jagged. A soft plush teddy bear, makes a world of difference. But for me, it just kind of like the robot dog. Like a lot of the times, the CGI kind of removed me from it. From the episode, it didn't have me like sucked in like some other episodes do. I don't know. Yeah, it just didn't work for me. And also, I wasn't really invested in any of the characters, Bella especially.
Yeah, like I wasn't like, oh no, she's gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
And
just
the other
didn't,
two, you didn't have a chance to even get to know.
yeah.
As a negative, what I will say is, for the first time in a long time, and I'd have to go back and watch the previous seasons, but at least the first time this season, this just felt like an episode of any show.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So it's not something where it's like, all right, that was Black Mirror. Like only Black Mirror could have done this. This was such a simple plot, which is okay, but I don't think you can have a simple plot, characters that aren't developed. It was cool that it was in black and white, and it was cool that it was in a post-apocalyptic type of landscape. But it was just like very simplistic, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely wasn't. It was probably my least favorite of the season.
Yeah, for me as well, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. The dogs were kind of cool. The dogs had I thought it was kind of cool that I thought like that added thing, like the gun got removed from the dog's arm when it got trapped in the car, but when it went in the house to as it followed Mia, Bella. Wait, what's her name? Bella.
Yeah.
It like picked the knife out of the butcher's block and like used it as like a knife drill in its arm, which I thought that was fun. That was kind of cool.
And like it was like, I wish it was more of like her trying to outsmart it, like throwing the paint over it,
right?
And like that kind of stuff was cool. Like the foreshadowing with the guy blowing his head off, because once you get those trackers in you, they can find you. Yeah. So she committed suicide at the end too.
Yeah.
So that like there were parts that were okay, but again, it just felt like an episode that any show could have, not any show, hopefully. But any show that's really dark could have just kind of thrown in, where the rest of them, it's like, all right, that's that's a Black Mirror show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Also, I felt like there was a bit of lacking about the story about where these dogs came from and why they're taking over.
So I did read an interview with Charlie Brooker about that.
Yeah.
The original ending was like a man who operated them.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to be people behind the controls, like just wiping out humans.
Yeah, but I guess he wanted it to, I don't know, not focus on humanity.
Okay.
Like humanity's evil, just kind of have to make it it's more of an artificial intelligence thing than actual humans doing it.
I buy that.
Yeah, but it definitely kind of hurt the plot that it's just like, oh, they're here. Like this.
Yeah.
They're just killing everyone for what? Like, why? Is it revenge? Is it just like, have they been programmed that way? Like, you know what I mean? Clearly the only thing they were after was murder.
Yes.
They were just murder machines. So I think it would have helped to have like some explanation of it, but he did say in the interview that it was purposely left vague. So, but I think that kind of hurt it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. You want to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go for it. Go for it, Ryan.
So the last one is Black Museum. A woman enters the Black Museum where the proprietor tells his stories relating to the artifacts. This one was directed by Colm McCarthy, who has directed episodes of Peaky Blinders and Sherlock, and of course written by Charlie Brooker. Matt, what do you think? Initial reaction?
This was my favorite episode of the season. This was my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I told Holly after the episode.
Yep. I think it goes for me. It goes Black Museum, Callister, then Hang the DJ. Top 3. Yeah.
And those are all. I mean, that's top 3 for the season, but those could probably all fit into like the top 5 or 7 of the series. I mean, those 3 solid episodes, which goes to show you how strong this last episode was.
It was, and the storytelling in it was incredible. You had 3 stories. You had the doctor who was obsessed with pain. Mm-hmm. You had the what was the second one? The second one was the wife who goes into a coma and she gets put inside the guy's head, and that fucking didn't work out, and she gets put into a teddy bear. And then you have the last one where it's the guy who was supposedly he was like a famous murderer and serial killer or whatever, or just murderer. And he got sent to death row in the electric chair, but then they have his conscious in the museum, and they just forever and ever they just shock him. and he actually feels it. Like in this episode had a theme of moving people's consciousness, which reminded me of one of my other favorite episodes, San Junipero.
Yep.
And they also, I believe, the doctor worked at the name of the hospital was Junipero, something Saint Junipero, right?
So yeah, Saint Jupiter or Saint Junipero.
Yeah, something like that, right? So I thought that was either some connected somehow. He does make mention, because in this episode there's a lot of callbacks to other this season of Black Mirror, but also other seasons of Black Mirror. You see the white bear mask on that on the mannequin. You see the tablet from Archangel or from earlier in this season, and I mean, I'm sure there's a ton others that I missed. Did you catch anything else that related to other episodes?
So they had the DNA scanner from the USS Callister episode.
Okay.
The drone insect from Hated in the Nation that was like burrowing in your like in people's ears. The bathtub from Crocodile, where
I missed that one. I missed that.
Yeah,
one.
there's like the white bathtub and there's like a blood stain where that guy got killed.
Yeah.
And when they show that the bathtub, in the background of that frame is the guy from Carlton Bloom from Hated in the Nation, the guy who like did the whole thing with the hashtags and all that stuff.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
So yeah, he was there, and then there was a couple which weren't confirmed. They were kind of speculation, but there's one part where she goes, and it almost looks like the faceless man from Game of Thrones, his like wall of faces.
Yeah.
And there's a couple that are very distinct, and they were saying like one of them looked very similar to Charlie Brooker, and another one was like a producer or director. Those aren't really confirmed, but yeah, there was a ton of callbacks to other episodes, and it almost seemed like this guy, in one way or another, was responsible for a lot of the technology.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the people doing what they did, but a lot of the technology that caused or drove these episodes.
Yeah, he makes mention of when he's talking about how in the story about how he puts the girl into her husband's head, right? And she can feel whatever he feels. He makes mention of the same technology that was happening in San Junipero. He makes mention of that technology. So yeah, I think he has the company that he worked for at the time, it was very instrumental in a lot of the shit that happened in Black Mirror. It happens in all the Black Mirror episodes.
And that same one where like the wife in the coma was like put into the teddy bear, like that's very similar to the White Christmas episode.
Yes.
With the company that John Hamm works for.
Yep.
Where like the digital copy of that person is like trapped in a different universe. The Doctor Who Loved Pain one, that was pretty nuts.
It was crazy. I loved it though. It was fucking crazy.
That. I didn't expect him to like just get obsessed with pain.
Yeah. It was crazy. And that actor like did a great job of like selling that role. That was crazy though. He's like waiting by the ER doors for like someone to come in that's in pain so he can like strap the helmet on him and just like, ride the ecstasy of like the pain. That's crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
I also like that this kind of, at least for the proprietor, what was his name? Rollo Haynes, I believe his name was.
Yes.
But I did like that there was like a villain. There was a singular human villain.
Yeah.
In a way, because he, even though, with the Doctor Who, like he clearly, you could tell there was indifference in his voice and in his actions when even these experiments went wrong. He didn't give a shit. Yeah. And if they didn't kick him out of that hospital, he would have kept dying. Like he didn't mind. So they're not blaming society. They're not really blaming the technology. They're blaming it on this like human greed, this human sociopathy that this guy had and still had to this day. Like when he took that death row convict's like mind and turned it into the hologram and people paid to shock him. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. How crazy was it that every person got a souvenir, which was a copy of his consciousness, but just always in pain of being electrocuted?
I wouldn't want that.
That's fucking crazy.
Put that on your keychain?
It brought up a lot from earlier this season because of all like the props and everything, but also brought up that not theory, but that whole like premise of the USS Callister, where you have your real self living, but then there's another person that's you that's living inside of the computer, and they can feel and whatever, and like they're in there forever. Picture that, but that person is inside a keychain, just constantly being electrocuted. That's fucking crazy. It's craziness.
That's
yeah. So that was crazy. And then of course you have like the culmination of everything. You have, which the best thing about this episode, my favorite thing was when after he told the story about the husband and wife, and he has the teddy bear in his hands, and the teddy bear says, "I need a hug." It was fucking perfect. I was like, if this teddy bear speaks and she's still in there, I'm gonna fucking lose it. And he did, and I was like, oh my god, what a perfect touch. What a perfect little thing. And then of course, at the end, she takes the teddy bear and puts it right next to her, and so she can see this guy fucking fry because of all the pain that she caused, because of all the pain that he caused her. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was kind of like maybe not a double twist ending, but it was, a lot of revelations all at once.
Yep. She knew all about the person in person thing. Her mother was inside of her.
Yeah. Her mother was inside of her. She was the daughter of the guy whose memory had been like abused and taken and used as like a circus attraction.
Yep. And
has been in pain this whole time. So really great ending. Great acting by both that guy Rolo, the guy who played Rolo Haynes, and by Nish, I guess her name is.
Yep.
Letitia Wright. Yep. So I kind of had an introverted question.
Okay.
As a viewer. So are we as Black Mirror viewers, because when you're watching Black Mirror, you're watching it for a reason. Yeah. Right. You're not watching a show to see like a love story, to see necessarily a happy ending. I think there's some part of us that wants this sadistic, odd, crazy, warped thing to happen. So are we as Black Mirror viewers the same as the people who frequent in the Black Museum, the same as the people who, you know what I mean? Like in a sense, you're watching it to see, obviously we're not like these sociopathic people, but I think there's that. I think that's kind of the creator saying, like, you're watching this show the same way these people are visiting the museum.
Yeah, I think that's what they were getting at. Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that's what this whole museum is supposed to be. For sure.
Which was really cool. And it was a cool finale for this season. Just to kind of wrap everything up, to have all those callbacks and to use in a way like they used the technology was used against him.
Yeah.
The technology that he developed, that he was too selfish to understand the downside of it. Or even if he did understand it, he didn't care.
Yeah.
And it came back to bite him in the ass.
Yep.
But yeah, I loved it. It was close. 1A or 1B of my favorites of the season. I did really, really, really like USS Callister. So that it's those two, but I mean, depending on the day, I could pick either one.
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm right there with you. I just enjoyed it so much. And like you said, I think it was a nice little cap on the season. I thought it was really, really cool. I hope there's more episodes like that one, honestly, where it dips into other Black Mirror episodes. I don't need like Marvel-sized like universe type things, but it's cool that they dipped into other things, other seasons, other episodes, other theories, and things like that. I thought that was cool. I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
I'm mad it was only 6 episodes this season, but
me too. It's too bad, but it was a quality 6. I think it was a quality 6, even though I personally didn't enjoy Metalhead that much. Overall, it was a very quality season. When do you think we'll get a new one? Is my next question now, because all I want to do is watch Black Mirror.
I know, that's kind of the downside. I mean, we binged, but not binged like,
Yeah.
I think we did it a good amount of time. I don't know. Hopefully sometime 2019.
Yeah. I'm hoping Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I think hopefully 2019. I'm hoping that Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone series is kind of like a spiritual like cousin of what Black Mirror is, and I hope that he does like something real special with it because I would like to, because that's going to be coming out within the next year, so I'm excited to see what that's all about and if he can like do kind of like episodes like that because that would kind of like give me a little bit of what I need until I get more Black Mirror.
Absolutely, kind of like it's a modern twist on the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I think that he'll do it. He's going to do a fantastic job with it.
I agree. I mean, you just blew everybody away with Get Out. So
yeah, exactly. I think he's got a knack for it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Because now Walking Dead doesn't premiere back until February. I think it's the 23rd. So we got like 5 weeks.
Yeah. Well, you said you're going to start Daredevil soon, right?
I'm caught up.
Oh, sorry, not Daredevil. The Punisher.
Yes.
Do we want to watch a few episodes of The Punisher for next week and see what we do?
I could do that.
Okay. So maybe we'll watch, I don't know, is it 10 episodes?
Daredevil was 13.
It might be 12 or 13 actually for The Punisher. But want to say 3 episodes for the next time we record, and we'll talk about that?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So you heard it here, right here on the podcast. This is what we do. First
think on the spot.
Yeah, the first 3 episodes of The Punisher we're gonna watch for next week's TV Club. It's gonna be our little filler show until we bring The Walking Dead back on. Until The Walking Dead comes back on TV. Not until we bring it. We have nothing to do with that. We do not run the studios.
Okay.
We have nothing to do with we have nothing to do with the show. But until that comes back on, and also we still both need to watch Mr. Robot as well.
Yes.
So that will also be coming. That maybe we'll do Punisher up to Walking Dead. We'll do Walking Dead till the season finale, and then we'll go right into Mr. Robot, or maybe like in between somewhere. We can do that too.
Sounds fantastic to me. And before you know it, Game of Thrones will be back.
Right. I mean, that's still. Damn it. That's still over a year away.
So long.
Way over a year away. Shit, it's like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Damn it.
All right, well, I don't know. All right, that's going to do it for the Average Nobodies podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, you can check us out on Twitter at Average Nobodies or AverageNobodies.com, where our blog is. And this is Matt and Ryan signing off for the night.
Have a good week, everybody.